I really want to ask yourself, if I didn't worry about how I was getting there, what is one big goal I would set? What do I really want? Because when you set that goal you really want, the energy is there, the momentum's there. You figure it out. Introducing the Vixen Voice, a podcast for ambitious women entrepreneurs ready to move into their feminine essence, live their truth, and unlock their full potential. I'm your host, April Roberts, and each week I'll be interviewing inspiring women who decided to take a leap of faith to pursue their dream. Women who believe that they were born for something bigger. Hi, y'all, and welcome back to another episode of the Vixen Voice. Yep, this is one of those episodes where you just get me, I'm warning you. And this is an episode of taking the wild ride through April's mind. Yes, it's one of those episodes where I'm just going to kind of share what's on my mind. And wow, there is so much. I have a list of 6 things I would love to share with you. Hopefully these are idea generators for you. Maybe they help you think through something going on in your business or your life, or maybe it's just a nice reflective moment. I don't know. We're all on different journeys, so we need different things at different times, right? But I can share this with you. Wow, like just so much is going on these days, in our country in general, in the world, in business, in the economy, and I just continue to be blessed and meet amazing people. And that's what I am trying to focus on. And I'm just going to warn you, you've probably heard lately, we've had some awesome episodes of the Vixen Voice, like just amazing guests bringing their expertise, bringing their point of view about life, just beautiful, beautiful episodes. I recorded so many last week and again this week. I was trying to record all the way through November so that I could go to Europe in October. I'll keep you updated on that because I'm not sure if I'm going or not. But anyway, it's just crazy because I've recorded so many episodes in 2 weeks and my mind is just blown by the genius of the amazing women I talk to. So I'm sure you've already heard some of those awesome episodes. Stay tuned because there is more to come. So today I'm going to try to keep this quick. You know that I can be kind of long-winded. That's probably why I have my own podcast. But anyway, that's what we should love ourselves for, right? How we're perfectly imperfect. So I thought I'd share 6 things that came up for me. A lot of these things have been spurred with conversations. I talk to a ton of amazing women every day, interviews, etc. And I just love that I am gifted to be in this position where I'm constantly generating new points of view, new ideas, new thoughts, and sometimes the conversation brings back a great memory. So I thought I'd kind of share with you 6 highlights that have come up lately. The first one isn't really spurred by a conversation, but I want to call it the power of delegating, right? And I know for we women entrepreneurs, this can be challenging, right? And I like to say I'm not a micromanager. I love to delegate. My favorite words are, it's done. But to be real, sometimes we get burned in delegating and we might be master delegators and then we pull back. Or maybe something just isn't quite working in our business and subconsciously we start pulling stuff back, right? Because nobody can do it better than us, right? Yeah, I'm laughing at myself there. So anyway, I want to talk about the power of delegating because I just have this amazing team and all of them are third parties we've brought on for different things. And it's just so nice to see them take initiative, treat things like it's their own business, really be vested in the mission of the Vixen Gathering. And when you have quality people, also, it's important that you're there for them, But it's lovely when they're there for you, because being a business owner can be lonely. And, I was having a moment the other week, just a lot going on. And Yolanda, who is her team handles like my keynote speeches, so it's really cool. They help me negotiate price so I don't have to deal with it. They make sure I'm organized. They make sure I have everything I need. They help me book amazing opportunities. Anyway, they are just world class. And Yolanda's such an amazing person, and we've known each other for years. And, I just had this moment where I was a little bit in panic mode. And she reached out to me a text the next morning. And, I could have been embarrassed about that, because I like to be in control of my emotions. I like to be present. I like to be peaceful. And she texted me the next morning. She was like, hey, I felt your stress yesterday. What can I do? And instead of just saying, what can I do? She recommended a couple of things she could do to help me where I was feeling overwhelmed. And they're not even in the area of my business that I pay her to help with. So anyway, I just want to give shout out to Yolanda for being an amazing person. And she's not the only one. It's just when you have world-class people, not just good at what they do, but who are good people, it just makes such a difference in your environment. But really, the power of delegating was spurred by my podcast manager, Haley. So shout out to Haley Hayhurst. And recently, I've always kind of sourced the guest. I kind of maybe will book them or get them to say yes, and then I turn it over to the team to take over from there, and our team does a world-class job of taking care of the guests, gifting them, etc. But I've always been the one coming up with the ideas for the show, coming up with the suggested guests. Sometimes the team will plug in a guest or two, when I'm like, I want to talk about this topic, and maybe we don't have enough for the panel. But anyway, recently we had so much going on in different changes that Haley volunteered to take over sourcing guests. And she has her own top 5% global podcast. She obviously does this for a number of other clients. And, this was kind of my baby, but I was like, yeah, I wouldn't mind you helping. Thanks. I'd really appreciate that. And I mean, has she delivered? If you haven't watched the episodes that are coming out with Jillian and Diane, I don't know if this is coming out before or after. And then today I did an interview with Ashley and Emma. I mean, just firecracker female entrepreneurs in the digital space. Like, I'm learning so much about what's out there. All of these professionals, these experts who can help us with our business. I mean, I'm just mind blown at how amazing these conversations have been. And so I turned over a couple of episodes to her, and I'm sourcing for next week because she's on vacation, but I'm about to turn over the keys to the kingdom because my mind is just blown at, these amazing women. And the cool thing is I get to meet new women, which, is one of my favorite things. So anyway, watch for those episodes or check them out if they've come out already. So I just want you to revisit the power of delegating. And with the right person, you might be able to delegate a little bit and then turn over the keys to the kingdom, right? Highly recommend that. Highly recommend to inspect what you expect. I also turned over, we have multiple email boxes for different things, for the podcast, for the team, client service, my personal email, getting it organized. And so I actually rehired someone who worked for me previously. She has her own business, but I was like, hey, if you have some time, I'd love some help with organization. She's not cheap, because she has her own business and she's an expert in organizing. And I mean, in 1 week, she had everything cleaned up. I was just like, wow, I've been waiting months for this. So I just, when you find the right people, delegating is so key and it makes your life so easier. I mean, I just had time to go fix myself lunch, eat lunch, take a breather, call my parents, etc. for lunch during a podcast day. I normally don't have that kind of time, so it's pretty amazing. I want to encourage you to revisit delegating and where you can delegate. And if you'd like tips on, maybe you're hiring your first person, we're going to drop below a link to my calendar. Hop on the calendar with me. I have a number of resources to help you. One of my best friends runs a company that's amazing at this. Emma, you've heard her her on, I'd recommend you go listen to our first podcast episode where it was just she and I, and she has amazing tips for that. But I'm happy to talk to you if you have any business problem. Let's have a networking call. Let's solve that business problem for you. And then we'll talk about if it makes sense to work together more or if you're good to go. So anyway, I appreciate all of you and your loyalty. So just check out below. There's a 30-minute complimentary strategy session that you can book with me, and take advantage of that. If you want to chat about any of these things, solve a problem in your business, etc., I am great at idea generating. So second thing I want to talk about is, and I know recently I had an episode on setting micro goals, which was like a 45-day, couple of weeks, etc. Getting off this, we have to have quarterly, annual, 3-year goals, especially right now when things are changing so fast and the economy's shifting. I just want to encourage you to think outside of the box, and maybe for now you just need a goal for the next month, and then you're going to figure out what's next, right? But setting goals you really want to achieve is different. So today I interviewed Elena Burkhart, who I don't want to give away any of the nuggets of these interviews, just thoughts that were spurred for me. And she is helping me lose weight. She is a weight loss expert, and she worked in cardiac surgery or cardiothoracic surgery. I'm totally butchering this medical term. And then in cardiology, and she's really into preventative medicine. And so she did a lot of diet and nutrition with her patients, and now that's like all she does. And so I finally gave up on this menopause, beating my head against the wall, and said, I need an expert to help me. So check out that episode. We're going to talk about how she's helping me, and she has really interesting tips on how to customize a meal plan for yourself, right? But what I loved about her is when I she was like, what size do you want to be? I love how she didn't ask me how much weight I want to lose or, what I want to weigh. She asked me what size I want to be. And I was like, I want to be a size 4. And she was like, great, that sounds perfect for you, April. And I just love her chipper attitude, not being judgmental. I don't know, just thinking it was the best idea ever. Not telling me, oh, you're 48. Are you sure a 6 isn't good enough, right? And then my weight goal is pretty aggressive too, because I really want to take off 50 pounds, right? And so her being supportive of that as well. No, it might take a long time, but that's my goal. And, for a long time, I was like, oh, well, if I lost 30 pounds, that'd be great. Oh, let's just start with 20 and then we'll see. And the honest truth is, I want to take off 50 pounds and I want to be a size 4 again. I might be a size 2 at that stage. But anyway, we'll decide when we get there, right? But that's what I really want. And I don't want to tell myself, oh, you're 48. Oh, you're perimenopausal. Oh, you don't have time. Oh, you travel too much. That's what I want. So I want to do it. And I just really appreciate finding a professional and professionals who support that dream. And, that's what I love to do with my clients. We just had the money mindset challenge, the own your worth challenge. And one woman on there wants to make $100 million. I'm like, cool, let's go figure it out. Love the challenge. I just, and we're talking money and weight, typical things, but maybe it's that you want to go spend a month in Europe with your family. Maybe you want to go spend a month in Colorado with your family this summer. I really want to ask yourself, if I didn't worry about how I was getting there, what is one big goal I would set? What do I really want? Because when you set that goal you really want, the energy is there, the momentum's there. You figure it out. We are amazing human beings. As women, we're even more amazing, right? So I really want to challenge you, ask yourself without qualifications, what do you really want? And let's set a goal for what we really want. I remember in April, we were at this house in Sedona for the Vixen retreat, and it was just this beautiful house, had this amazing kitchen, and it was, in the mountains of Sedona. And I was just like, I don't know, it just had a lot of cool features. And I was like, I really want to build a house. So when I owned a house, I didn't build it, but I totally renovated so everything could be exactly how I wanted, because I wanted it that way, right? But now I'm like, oh, you're busy. Oh, you're single. Oh, you don't need that much space. Oh, you don't need to build a house, right? I freaking want to build a house. Like, is it the best time to build a house right now? No. The cost of land, the cost of real estate, everything's exponential. So maybe I'm not doing it now, but what's wrong with dreaming again and saying, I want to do this? Not, I'd love to do that, but the economy's bad. So, again, what do you really want? If it's just you being honest with yourself, what do you want? And again, I would love if you would schedule time with me or drop a comment below. Share with me what you really want. You can DM me on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, wherever you want. But I would love to hear, what is that you really want, that you've been qualifying and telling yourself you can't have, right? On the abundance mindset, whether the woman's like, I want my own private jet. I'm like, cool, can you swing by and get me when you're going here? And then another woman was joking the same. And another one wants a house at the beach. And it was just so fun to dream together again. So please dream again. Be honest about what you really want. I'm going to encourage you to not qualify that and to find a community that supports you. And I'd love it and be honored if you'd share that dream with me. My third thing that came up, and this came up in a conversation with my good friend, Amanda Kaufman. She's been on here, I think, twice now on a panel, and she has another panel coming up. But she and I were just having like girl entrepreneur time. In fact, we're going to start once a month where we're going to call it our little girl entrepreneur gang, where we just like kind of share horror stories, laugh with each other, talk about what's frustrating, like, joke around and really just spend time being friends. No networking, no how can I help you, just being friends. And so anyway, that might be one idea for you, right? Winter true friend time. And a lot of my friends are entrepreneurs, so we tend to talk about our business anyway, but we're not wanting anything from each other, right? We live in this world where a lot of people want things from us, or they want to see how they can help us. So really find time where you're not doing that. But anyway, Amanda and I were talking about a challenge I just had in my business, and she gave me the system to analyze things that I just freaking love, right? So it's called the STEM system, and it stands for stress, time, energy, and money. So when you're looking at this, like, how much stress is it going to give me? Or is it going to give me less stress, right? What about my time? How much time is it going to take? Is it going to save me time? Energy, same thing. Is it going to give me energy, or is it going to take my energy? And money, how much is it going to cost me? So for example, I shared with you that I have all these amazing third parties that help me with the Vixen gathering. Do they cost me money? Yes. But do they save me energy or give me energy? Yes. Do they save me time or give me time? Yes. Do they save me stress? Tons of it, right? So is it worth the money? 100%, right? So understand, maybe if I paid less money, it would mean still more stress, more time, and more energy sucking for me, right? And again, make a smart decision based on where you are in the journey. But I love that STEM analysis. How is this affecting my stress, my time, my energy, and my money? Great thing when it comes to people, great thing when it comes to systems, when it comes to things you want to add to your business, maybe things you're asked to do. I don't know. I just love it. So wanted to share that and want to give kudos to Amanda Kaufman, who's an amazing coach as well for that tip. Number 4, I was chatting yesterday with Maria Gillen, who is an Irish storyteller, and you absolutely have to listen to that episode. Anyway, I'm getting chills as I'm thinking about it. Just so, so beautiful. And we were talking about different things, and one thing that came up is she mentioned the book The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. I had just mentioned that book the day before in my Vixen's Founders Collective. I was coaching on something and it came up. I mean, I read that book. I can't even remember when. I want to say it was like 2008. I feel it was like when I was going through my divorce or separated from my husband. Anyway, so it was like that 2008-9 period. And it was like the first kind of spiritual metaphysical book. I remember Oprah recommended it. And I don't know, it's just so amazing because my spiritual journey has changed so much. And, I've come so far since then. And that's still an amazing, wonderful book, great introduction. And I was using a portion of it to coach yesterday, like helping one of my clients get more in touch with her body and her feminine power center. So it's still valuable, but I don't know. What it spurred for me is, where did you start your journey? Right? Sometimes it's really fun to take a moment and reminisce in a conversation. Maybe it's just you drinking coffee on your front porch thinking about it. Maybe you're having a glass of wine at the end of the day, during your bubble bath, during a walk, whatever. But just, I don't know. It's like really fun sometimes to reminisce, and we forget these things. I remember my dad and I would pass Ryan's Steakhouse on the beach in Biloxi, and I'd be like, remember when you used to give seminars there and people would go get their food from the buffet? And when I sold my business, we would give like $10,000 dinners at Perry's Steakhouse in Texas, right? Like that's where we did our presentations to new potential clients. And like, we would just laugh, and it was such a fond memory, right? And I just love this idea that was literally the first introduction to the spiritual world or the metaphysical that I read. And just thinking, and I went to a spiritual retreat in Indonesia in 2012. I was practicing, I was certified in Reiki. I am trained in energy healing. That's not a lot of what I do today. I do spiritual healing, which is different. But just thinking about that journey, because there's so much joy in the journey and there's so much beauty, right? So maybe reminisce. When did you start your business? When did you start your current career? How'd you meet your significant other? Like, how was it the first year of being a mom? Like, just take some time to like reminisce on where your journey started, some journey. I think it's really a beautiful concept. Number 5, what kind of business do you have? And are you operating from the correct framework for that business? I'll tell you the context this came up for me. My interview with Jillian and Diane was really amazing, and they help businesses scale and build online, right? In different capacities. And, we were talking, and this idea of an online business manager came up, and I had such an aha moment, like, oh my gosh, I've been like doing my organization chart in my business like a traditional brick and mortar business, because that's what I was used to growing, right? And I now have a digital online remote business. Like, this framework should be different, right? And maybe you need an online business manager. You don't need a COO or a director of ops or a manager, right? Like, start getting versed in your business. And most of you listening, I know a lot of you have information businesses or online businesses, or you're still working corporate and you have an online side hustle. Really start understanding all the new titles of positions of people who can help you. Because I'm telling you, all these interviews coming up with these women that do this work, it's just amazing and mind-blowing, and they're so smart and they know their stuff, right? So really reflect on, what kind of business do I operate, and what kind of organizational framework would benefit me the most. Even if you're a solopreneur, right? You want to have an idea. I mean, one of my favorite things is drawing out org charts. I'm a nerd about that, probably because I'm growth oriented. So it's like, okay, here's what the team looks like now. When we're at our 3-year goals, what kind of team will I need to hit those goals, right? I just love doing that. So even if you think of that first iteration of what a team looks like, which might be you and a virtual assistant, is that virtual assistant 5 hours a week, 10 hours a week, full time? Do you need them to do marketing? Do you need them to help you organize your calendar? Do you need your CRM fixed? Like, what does that look like? What do you really need? And again, if you're not sure, let's hop on a quick call. I love thinking through these problems with women. I just had a call yesterday. It was an amazing woman I got introduced to who's interested in joining the Vixen Founders Collective. And I don't love traditional sales calls, quote unquote. And I'm not saying anything bad. Look, I think you have to sell to have a business. Like, I'm a fan of marketing sales, but it's just like, we're all busy. I want to bring you value when we're on the call. So, I was like, hey, what's your biggest challenge in your business? And, she shared with me, I was like, okay, let's dig into this. And like, we came up with a strategy for her to try. It may not be the end solution, but we came up with a strategy for her to try. And I just love that. And, she knows she just needed someone to ask her questions and help direct her and think in a different way. So I'd love to invite you again. Feel free to click below and schedule that 30-minute complimentary strategy session with me. I'd love to talk to you about any of these topics or to help you solve a problem in your business or a balancing problem. Maybe it's a time, energy, and confidence leverage problem. Love those too. I was laughing because last week on the Vixen Founders Collective on Fridays, we have our coffee and they're a little less structured. Wednesday is our coaching session, our live coaching session. And I always have a curriculum for that. But Fridays, usually we're sharing our wins. We're sharing any challenges we have maybe. We're sharing our ahas from the coaching session that week and, what's going on in our business. And so I kind of asked them, what were some challenges they were facing, and we kind of talked about that, and someone was having a calendaring issue. So I ended up screen sharing my Google Calendar, and they were like, oh my God, asking me 10,000 questions about my calendar because it's very well architected. I spend a lot of time on it. And that's what I coach, my clients to do. And then they're like, can we see what your Calendly looks like? How's that set up? And literally most of the 30 minutes was me screen sharing so they could visually see how we have things set up. Because again, in this digital world, sometimes we can't imagine what the end result looks like, right? So anyway, that was kind of fun. And I kept checking in. I was like, hey, is this valuable to y'all? Do you want to move on to something else, right? Because again, our time is valuable. Don't stick on a call that's boring. Like most of us, we were joking today on one episode, we all listen to webinars and podcasts at like 2x the speed. Now, I will tell you, sometimes I'll slow it down if I really want to hear, or I'll go back and re-listen to a part, but time is money, right? Like don't stay on a call that's not valuable, or speak up if something's not bringing value to you. Number 6 that came up for me is finding peace, joy, and happiness in every day. And I've been talking about this a lot lately. It came up today when I was talking to Maria, the storyteller, because we were talking about the power of music. And I have a set of songs that I listen to every morning. And sometimes in the day, I'll put in my earbuds. And when I'm sending emails and doing cleanup work, I'll play this music. And it's just really beautiful. And it's because a couple of weeks ago, I got caught up in all the BS. Actually, by the time this airs, it was a couple of months. There's a lot going on in our country. Like, I don't love watching the news because of the low beta frequencies that come out, but I was checking out things on YouTube, which is the news, which is the beta frequency, etc. And I started feeling some anxiety, and that's like not how I like to operate. I like to wake up every day trusting that what's going to happen is going to happen and God's taking care of me. And I'm not worried about the past and I'm focused on the future, but I really want to be present. And I found myself not able to do that. And then I was inspired by these songs and my healing training. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to make it part of my routine. When I pray and meditate, then I'm going to listen to these songs to start my day. And they just bring me so much peace. It's unbelievable. And then I think I shared with you that my daily focus is what joyful conversation am I having today? Because I love having joyful conversations, right? I shared how my friend and I were just laughing the other day on a call. And so really just seeking joyful conversations and thinking, what's going to make me happy right now? And this answer is different for all of us. But right now I know we're being challenged. I know there's a lot of insecurity. There's a lot of change going on, but we are in control of our destinies. By being present, by focusing on what brings us peace, joy, and happiness every day, try to make this a discipline. And it can be a different thing every day. Just have a goal of, okay, today I'm going to have peace, I'm going to have joy, and I'm going to have happiness at some time during the day. Yeah, so I'd love to challenge you to do that. I don't know. It's life-changing. Like I'm getting pretty emotional because life is pretty beautiful when you start living that way. So anyway, I warned you it was going to be a wild ride through my mind. Really, I want to say my mind and heart today because a lot of these are heart-centered items. And so anyway, I'd love to hear from you. What'd you think of the episode? give us a rating, give us a review. If you're listening on YouTube, drop a comment below. We check the comments. We love to converse with you. Connect with us. We have the Vixen Voice on Instagram, has its own channel now. So check that out. And of course, there's still the Vixen Gathering channel as well. But check that out. And I'd love to encourage you, continue this conversation. Pick at least one of these 6 to think about and go deeper on and evolve in the next week. And I would love to hear from you via Instagram. Either schedule a meeting with me below, DM me, drop a comment below. Let's continue this conversation, because what if you had a conversation every day with someone about how they could find peace, joy, and happiness? Do you think little by little we're creating the ripple effect in a better world? Absolutely. So I encourage you, find what brings you peace, find what brings you joy, and find what brings you happiness, and seek it every day. Have a beautiful day, and I look forward to talking to you soon. Bye, y'all. Thanks again for listening to the podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to hit subscribe so future episodes are automatically downloaded directly to your device. And if you want access to today's show notes, including links to all the resources we mentioned, visit vixengathering.com/podcast. Thanks again for listening, and I'll catch you next week for another episode of the Vixen Voice.